Welcome to the RDYTC. I'm your host, Paul Essen.
I'm Andrew Riley.
I'm Travis Santa Hudson.
And we're down to, what, is it 3 days left? Is that where we're at?
3 days.
3
Three
days
French
left.
hens.
3 days left to what, Santa
You can
Hudson?
till the end of Advent. Till Christmas.
To the end of the Advent calendar.
And 22. Oh no, we lose the entire words of beer, Brewers Art, Advent count. Not Brewers Art. It's Brewers Advent calendar.
22.
Ugh.
I hear chimes.
Yeah. This is beer can chimes. Knock them down. Knock them down. Knock them down. Knock them down.
I fully expect on the 24th they're gonna fall down. This one put up a fight, so this one better be good. I'm not even gonna try.
We are drinking the Schloßbrauerei Rheder original Pils. The can is this lovely black. It is brewed by Schloßbrauerei Rheder in Brackel, which is in North Rhine-Westphalia. It's a 4.7% ABV according to the web. I didn't actually check the can. Good, it is 4.7 on the can too. Yep. Excellent, unlike yesterday.
It's got a label around the can too.
This is another one of our labeled ones, so we'll probably play around with that later on. Thank you to our YouTube commenter for pointing out to us that that's something we need to be paying attention to going forward.
And I do see a tiny bit of a different thing underneath, so we'll see. But I will point out at least this one, rampant animals.
Does have the
we do love our rampant animals.
So I also, while we're pouring, I can keep talking of just a minute about the question we had from yesterday, which was about the sessions and session beers, and I found a couple different answers for you. Answer number one, there's just general definition of a session beer is that it is a beer that has below 5% alcohol content, that is clean and easily drinkable with a balanced finish of both hops and malt. So it's something where it's supposed to be highly drinkable, engaging, and there was definitely some indications on the web that the story Travis told us yesterday about it being the beer that you sat down and drank for the entire drinking session, hence the session, or the other one that I found that I thought was particularly amusing was session beers were designed to allow drinking on the job without getting drunk. So you'd work your work session while drinking the session beer. So the 5% alcohol is very, very important. So it's under that limit.
So that's interesting, and the low alcohol sounds familiar too, but
it's a little bit different from what you said yesterday. Yeah.
So. But that's almost paradoxical. Like I said yesterday too, where it's like it's low alcohol. You'd think you'd drink that faster, while I was like, you're drinking a double-digit ABV. That's what you would slow down and drink.
Well, it's focusing on the drinkability, which has more to do with that finish, the clean finish, where it's easily drinkable, you drink it quick. But the low alcohol content means that you can do that without getting drunk.
Or you can pour yourself another. Is how it would,
that's also an
how
option.
It works too, right?
You can work some overtime, pour yourself another.
Yeah, nothing says the session has to be 12 or 16 ounces. It can be 32 ounces.
64 ounces.
I work a long work day, so I need a long beer.
Right.
Have you guys ever had a... Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
I was going to say, yes, it's a Pils.
Yes, this is the original Pils. The question I was going to ask, has either of you ever had a yard of ale?
I don't think so.
A what of ale?
A yard.
A yard of ale?
So a yard is a specific glass, which is actually 3 feet long, designed to be a very large amount of alcohol, but it's super narrow, so it doesn't overwhelm you. But it is a very large container.
Does the container look like a thermostat? Kind of.
Thermometer?
Sure.
I don't know any thermostats that look like that.
Does that
thermostat that's on the wall in your house?
Tend to be about a box, yeah.
No, Paul, we're saying thermostat is what is in your house that controls your heating. Thermometer is the thing with mercury in it that goes up and down.
Did I say thermostat?
You said
say thermostat.
Sorry, yes.
We're being pedantic. Sorry.
No,
I'm just making sure that I understand the question.
You're accurate. It's like suntan lotion. It's not nearly suntan lotion. It's sunscreen. Yeah, the thing that has mercury in it, right? Does it look like that?
It does kind of, yes, because it's bulbous at various points.
Okay, then I have had it's bulbous at various points. I believe I've had a yard of margarita in Las Vegas before.
Wow.
I shared with someone else.
I was gonna say,
was it a half yard then, maybe?
It was I don't know, 3 feet tall maybe.
If it's 3 feet long, that's a yard. Obviously, that's the definition of a yard. But
Oh wow, I just
yard of
guessed.
margarita.
It was not. I mean, so it was interesting because all the alcohol sank to the bottom. So for a while we were just like, oh, this isn't that bad at all. And then you get to the bottom and you take like one sip and you're like, whoa. And then you start like stumbling around the strip and.
I was gonna say, like, if it wasn't beer, so yes, okay, if it comes with margaritas. That sounds like something they do at like bridal showers, right? You have like yards of margaritas or
when you have the male
lemon
stripper
drops
comes
or
in and,
whatever, yeah. Are lemon drops even still a drink?
I don't know.
I mean, how would it not be a drink anymore?
Well, like, is it a popular drink? I guess I should say.
Who's to say? Well, I mean, we're 40-year-old men.
I guess because the only reason I even know
popular.
lemon drop is that show, that Boston Public show we used to watch, where one of the teachers got drunk on lemon drops at the bar. I know you watched the show, Paul, because it had William Shatner on it. I'm pretty sure.
Not Boston Public, Boston Legal.
Boston Legal.
That was Boston Legal. Sorry, I know you still.
Denny Crane.
Still, I know
That
you.
was a good show.
I still know you watched Boston Public with us because that was one of the dorm room shows or apartment shows.
Boston Public. I don't remember watching with you guys, but I remember watching a couple episodes. Lemon Drop. I do remember someone being like Lemon Drop, and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like one of the
teachers or
female
something?
teachers on the show. Yeah.
Okay. Man, that's a random pull from 20 years ago.
At the bar, not at school. Although that probably would have been in place on that show too, right?
Oh, so we was the last episode I talked about the different types of beers and how like, oh, I don't think I like Hellas beers. I think I like Pilsners or whatever it was. I was gonna go through and take a look. I went through and took a look, and apparently I don't like Pilsners nearly as much as I thought I did. Because when I went back and checked, a lot of those lighter, crisper, refreshing beers, all those taglines that we were using, I think a lot of them applied to some Hells that I incorrectly thought were Pilsners. So ignore a lot of what I said last episode, I guess. And
Also, I'll just say,
everything I thought I knew about beers.
We're drinking 24, which is hardly a statistically significant sample of beers. And these are ones that have been selected out for a variety of reasons. They're easy for the editor to get a hold of. They're probably cheaper for them to get a hold of. They have a relationship already, and they are of some level of quality. So presumably pretty good, but maybe not to everyone's taste. So the selection in here is going to be 24 different beers, but they may not be as uniform as we would like to really get a good sampling.
I don't know if Paul had something else. I was just going to ask. I agree probably with that it's not a high enough number. What would be a suitable number of beers you have to drink to have a statistically accurate?
Isn't it like thousands?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to interrupt statistics boy here, but I think it's pretty much like you have to have like thousands of different types of like IPAs to determine, yeah, I really don't like IPAs.
I don't think you. I mean, obviously, if you want, could there be an IPA out there that you're still going to like? Absolutely, but statistically significant. If you've had 10 IPAs in a row that are different types of IPAs by different breweries, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to like an IPA. Then you have a pretty good idea.
The reason I chose IPAs because interestingly enough, I was going to use this to support your point that 24 beers is not enough to really determine, because going into this advent calendar, I would have sworn up and down that I didn't like IPAs, and honestly, I still think that's the case. But the one IPA that we've had, I gave a thumbs up to, and I actually quite enjoyed. And
but it wasn't the same as an American IPA.
It could be the case. And interestingly enough, actually, since then, I had a beer. I committed beer adultery. I had a beer outside.
You're drinking off the job.
I'm drinking off the job here. I had a beer that was not recorded for YouTube. And it was an IPA, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like this. I was willing to question my preconceived notions about IPAs, and it was awful. It was not a good beer. So apparently I don't like IPAs, but there are exceptions, and the occasional IPA that I do like.
Well, I can tell you that my statistical number for staying away now from chocolate peanut butter porters is 3. I've had 3. I don't like them anymore.
If Andrew reads the book 3 times, he's willing to give it a 4th time. If he doesn't like the first 3 times, he's like, yeah, I'll read the 4th time, I'll like it.
I think, to be fair, something as niche as a chocolate peanut butter porter, you don't have to try as many times to realize you probably don't like it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think after the first one, I think I had I think Yingling had a Hershey's.
They have a Hershey. That's not chocolate peanut butter, but yeah, there's a Hershey's Yingling.
The Hershey Zingling, I was like, that sounds intriguing. I'm not going to have another chocolate beer, I don't think. Those
I had
flavors
that
don't go
once.
together.
I had that once at possibly the last work happy hour I went to before COVID. It wasn't good enough to make me go buy a 6-pack. So I guess by that thinking, I would have given it a thumbs down on this podcast.
I unfortunately bought a 6-pack first, and then I tried it. I'm like, oh, I have 5 more of these to drink.
That's a mistake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave away. I had 3 cans of the last chocolate. Well, this wasn't labeled as chocolate peanut butter porter. It was Reese's Penis. God. Reese's Penis.
Wow.
Hi, YouTube.
This is getting flagged for adult content.
This is only 4.7, right?
And you saw that and you bought a 6-pack of it?
No, it was a 4-pack of Reese's Pieces Pseudo Lager. Which, I don't know what the hell a pseudo lager is supposed to be. But yeah, Reese's Pieces, let alone what I already said, does not belong in beer. I now know that.
Penises do belong.
I'm gonna have that Skittle Brow, please. No
this is from the same brewery that did make a sour beer using Starburst. Because there's sour fruited beer is a big thing nowadays, so they use Starburst in one of theirs. He does stuff like this.
Homer Simpson was ahead of his time.
But he has one of my favorite beers, which I mentioned on a previous episode. Though it's the hazy IPA brewed with Rice Krispie treats, which is outstanding.
So, I want to address one other thing you mentioned, Andrew, about beers being of a certain quality. I wonder what we think in terms of the quality of these beers, and I'm not necessarily saying that they're low quality, but one would think, from a business standpoint, that if you were going to come up with an advent calendar, a relatively random hodgepodge of beers that you're going to sell at a discount, right? Costco's usually you can get stuff cheaper there. Are you going to pick like your best sellers, or are you going to pick like a lot of the beers that you might have left over that didn't quite move off the shelves so quickly? And I wonder if it's a little bit more of the latter than the former.
I don't know how they're making these choices. I will say this is not the first time I've had this Costco Brewers Advent Calendar. I don't remember if I had it last year, but I'm pretty sure I had it the year before, and I just drank them on my own and enjoyed that experience. So coming back to it was fun. And I will say that I do know that some of them get reused because they're there and they have a relationship with the brewery, so they can continue to do that. And in fact, this particular beer, this Schloßbrauerei Rheder, is one of the ones that I have a recollection of having had in a previous advent calendar. So I've had this beer before. And does that mean it's good beer? Or does that mean it's a bad beer? That's what they had left over? Do they have a good relationship with them? I don't know how to answer that question. Yes, you get them at a discount price, but the price per can, and they're big cans certainly, is high enough to support it. So I think that pretty much any brewery that can get the advertising that this brings, if you drink one of these, and Travis loves his Zelda beer, he wants to buy more of it, right? So all we have to do is he'll buy a 6-pack, a whole pack of those right away, and that's great news for that brewery who would never have a chance. You can't. So it's they need to work on that to some extent. Whereas it's just really that niche craft product. The Kirta was one of those where I think they're very craft oriented, and we're probably not going to be able to find that. And that's kind of a shame as well. But there are plenty of these beers which are very mass produced and probably easy enough to come by.
So what I was gonna venture was like, I went to the website for Kalea, Kalia. I don't know how they pronounce it, and I want to say I might be totally off. I want to say they actually had maybe not advent calendars, but they had different products for like different regions, I think. So I'm wondering if like they make this one thinking it'll appeal to the mass market American beer drinker, and that's why there's so many Pills and Hells, because that's the closest that Germany's going to make to the mass market beers here in America. And they'll throw a couple of like, hey, we'll throw a Dunkelweiss, or even my vaunted Zelda beer is still like a Weizenbach Hell. It still has Hell in it, so.
Is the main reason we call it the Zelda beer because it has like an eagle crest on it? Is that like the only reason, basically?
That's the only reason, yes, because it has like something that looks like the Hylian crest on it. Yes.
All right.
It's stuck with us now, so we're
stuck.
We're committed to the bit.
Yeah.
So
No, it's not because Link drank it on his first date with Zelda or something. No, that's not why we call it the Zelda beer.
Has Link ever
the
gone
fortitude to shoot his sword out? Zap and kills the
What are you doing?
Zap. No?
We're already getting flagged for my Reese's Pieces flubber.
It works. He shoots.
Come on.
No?
Come on, Paul. It's your turn now.
Has Link ever gone on a date with Zelda out in video game lore? Like, I'm sure there have been cartoon during the cartoon, like there was always kind of like more mature themes in terms of like a more adolescent an older Link. But
sorry to talk over you. I've only played like the first hour or two of Skyward Sword. That one is definitely like they're in some sort of pseudo relationship. Because then there's a bully that he likes Zelda, and he's like jealous that he thinks Zelda is like with Link or something like that at the very beginning. I'm sure it all falls apart when whatever the bad guy in Skyward Sword shows up.
Like, honestly, I haven't played nearly as much Zelda games as one might have thought, considering how much I do like Zelda, The Legend of Zelda. But it seems like in most cases, like the relationship is always implied. Like there's never any like kissing or even like overt romantic overtones. It's more like she's like the female, he's the male, he's trying to save her, and it's kind of implied that maybe there's some sort of romantic interest, but it's
I don't know if it's usually implied because usually he's like maybe I'm just remembering Breath of the Wild more than all the others, but because like in Breath of the Wild he's like a knight that's assigned to protect her, which I know can still lead to like romantic stuff, but there's actually another romantic story in Breath of the Wild that I won't spoil, but
Lancelot, it better not.
But I'm just thinking like they're kind of usually presented as like almost too innocent for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like it seems like there's just like they're usually like too young for that, which yeah, I don't know. Like it seems a little shocking to me to hear like Link taking Zelda out on a date. Like that seems like wow. Let's slow down now. They've only been together in games for like 30 years or something.
Now, that said, I have not... Also, the fact that we usually only play like the first part of the story in each Legend of Zelda, right? Mm-hmm. We very rarely get sequels to them. Like, the sequel to Link to the Past is Link's Awakening, and he's like not even in Hyrule for that one.
And that's the closest we ever get to any kind of like potential love triangle, right? Like, there's almost never a competition for Link's affection, but Link's Awakening,
like I just said, the beginning of Skyward Sword has a very overt love triangle going on.
well, in the opposite way, right? For Zelda's affection.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say there were sequels to Wind Waker. That's what Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass were. I never played those, so there might be more relationship between him and Zelda in those. I don't know. I have not tried a statistical sufficient number of Zelda games, I guess, to be able to answer the question.
Here's a question that might be more suited for our video game podcast, but whatever. I'm going to throw it out here. What's the greatest relationship in video games? I'm assuming it's probably you guys are probably going to pick some sort of
Lock and Sell It.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
That's a pretty good one. I'm going to go with Squall and Rinoa. Same series, but different characters.
Or I could even go with 10.
Oh yeah, Yuna and Titus.
Yeah, Yuna and Titus. Or Titus, as supposedly it's actually in the dub or something like that, but yeah.
Do I need to say like non-Final Fantasy then?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, non-Final Fantasy.
They do a good job at that. That's one of the things that they're good at. So let me see. The kid and his hammer from Bastion.
Is that sort of euphemism?
I was going to say, like...
No, it's totally his hammer.
Yeah.
The hammer is not his penis.
I'm about to say, have you seen Dr. Horrible? Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Horrible. The hammer is my penis. The hammer is my Reese's Pieces.
But there you go,
peanut
Paul.
butter porter.
Now you joined in. Paul's gonna say like massive. You're gonna say like massive.
So here's the problem with Mass Effect, though, is that like there's you have your choices, right? There's like no canonical relationship, and frankly, I could name like a half dozen, and they're all pretty wonderful. Like
so you kind of can't say any BioWare then, right? You can't say any of the Knights of the Old Republic or Dragon Age or any of those, right? Because you're all optional.
So my first thought, because I'm not as a huge of a Final Fantasy fan as you guys, was Revan and Bastila from Knights of the Old Republic. For those who have played it.
Is that optional though, or is that like your only choice for love interest?
It's your only choice if you decide to pursue it. I think you have a choice of whether to make it romantic or not. But if you want to make it romantic, there's only one option.
I'm still blanking on another choice, honestly. I mean, accepting the Final Fantasy one, which was so strong. Because going back, Cecil and Rosa, again, what an amazing
Final Fantasy.
Exactly. So the thing is, if you take out the choice, that leaves out a lot of the RPGs, because RPGs tend to be about choice. Final Fantasy is very narrow in that regard. So you have something that's very narrative heavy, and there aren't a lot of games that have. I recently played a game called Haven, which has a very strong relationship, romantic portion to it, and they're a fine couple, but it didn't really resonate with me as one of the greatest romances of all times, right? But it was just. I don't know. It's really hard to find something that's so narratively heavy and has a meaningful relationship in it as well, even amongst all the games I've played.
I just look. Of course, I'm gonna Google it, as we've mentioned. People Google everything now, and Screen Rant has a top 10. Number 10 is Billy and Jimmy Lee and Marion from Double Dragon.
I think
that states the state of video game romance, honestly.
I might as well go with Mario and
Peach.
See,
Peach.
I thought of Mario and Peach. They don't really have a good relationship.
I mean, it seems very similar to Link and Zelda to me. It's like there's always kind of this implied like relationship, but there's not much else beyond that.
But it's the same kind of relationship that Keanu Reeves has with Sandra Bullock in Speed.
But I would still feel like we're way off the beer. But I still feel like Zelda and Link have like a more romantic relationship than Mario and Peach, right?
I think Mario and Peach have probably kissed. Have Link and Zelda kissed?
Probably have. Apparently, two people in Assassin's Creed kiss. I don't know. Cyberpunk. Wow, they actually put a romance from Cyberpunk 2077. Master Chief and Cortana.
Oh. What? Well, but yes, but no.
There's Revan.
Yes,
all right,
no.
Paul. Revan and Bastula's their number 4.
See, Revan and Bastila, yeah.
Last of Us, I haven't played.
I haven't played that either. So
Wait.
I can here's one for you.
Ellie and Riley from Last of Us.
Is that part 2?
No, it says Last of Us.
Okay, sorry.
Chloe and the protagonist, whose name is escaping me, from the
Uncharted.
No. The French developers who did it's now the Series 1, Series 2, which was an extension, like the prequel to it. Before the Storm.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
No, okay. Sorry, I skipped over that one because I haven't played it. Yeah, Life is Strange is on there. Number 2 is Commander Shepard and Liara. See, I told you Mass Effect to be there.
That's the worst choice. Liara is the worst romantic choice for the
this list is invalidated because their number 1 is Mario and Peach.
Got there.
They got there and totally invalidated everything else.
I think we can.
Life is Strange. They have Chloe and Rachel, whatever that means.
All right, give me 24 hours, and I'll come back to you with one that is better than all of those.
I'm sure I could probably.
Yeah, sorry for the tangent, people, but come on, Christmas is romantic. We've all seen Love Actually. Andrew does.
I have not, and I disagree.
You have not seen Love Actually?
God, no! It sounds terrible.
So here's a crisp before Paul goes off on a rant. Besides Valentine's Day, what is the second most romantic holiday then? I would say Christmas. You have mistletoe, you have gift giving, you have fire, you have like Yule logs and fire and all. Like it's
the vernal equinox.
What?
Vernal equinox.
Isn't that Easter?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be Easter time, but it's not Easter itself. Easter is not necessarily lining up, but it's very close. So something close to Easter, the vernal equinox, not because of Easter itself, but because the vernal equinox is about.
Okay, you're going pagan on me, but all right, fine.
Sure, yeah.
I'll give you the pagan holiday is more.
Thank you.
I wanna give you that Easter is more romantic. But,
and then going to Christmas does make sense because you have the Feast of Saturnalius, which was kind of
Right.
the source of a lot of Christmas, and that absolutely was. As
I
a
thought-
festival.
and third, I would probably say is Mother's Day, just because no other holiday is romantic. No, like
What is
seriously,
going on in your life?
or- Mother's Day not romantic, but I guess
Clearly, it's Columbus
No,
Day. Come on, Columbus Day,
What?
so romantic. The massacre of all those indigenous peoples.
I don't know. What about Labor Day? That leads to Mother's Day, right?
That was the other joke I was gonna make. Labor
Come
Day.
on, come on. No one.
Yeah.
Tell me about the beers, guys.
I haven't finished
Shit.
mine yet.
What the hell, guys? Stop talking, get drinking.
It's a pills, man. Come on, it's a struggle. The struggle is real.
All right, so
Let me talk about the beer for a second, man. Just a second, and then I'll let you go, Paul.
No, I
wanna
just
know-
did.
You down? Wow. Okay, that works also. The
No, like- Oh, Paul. Downing his invisible beer.
the
Or
hops
you guys should talk about it more than me.
have a very strong floral aspect to them, both in the nose, but even on the tongue. This is surprising to me. This is the second time I've had this beer. It reminds me again that how strong the hops distinguish this particular beer. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Tell me something, Paul.
yeah, so it's interesting you bring that up because as I was drinking this, I was thinking about how I don't remember the percentages. X percentage of taste comes from our smell, right? Like, and when I cracked it open, and poured it out, I got a whiff of the beer before I was even trying to smell it. And I was like, wow, that's a very pungent smell, and not necessarily in a good way. And I'm like, I wonder if that bodes well for the beer or not. And it did not bode well for the beer. Not to give anything away, but I can't tell if it was if the kind of strange taste or aftertaste I'm getting from the beer, how much of that is from the smell, because even now with just a little bit left of the beer, I can still smell it. And I'm wondering if that's just like, if I hold my, maybe for this last sip I'll hold my nose and see if it tastes any different. But yeah, I do feel like with this beer in particular, the smell is affecting the taste in some way.
And this is all coming from their choice of hops. The hops varietal that they're using here, just like in a wine, the grape choice makes such a large difference here. Especially because it's a lighter beer. It's not been malted as heavily. You don't have the sweetness coming through. It has the low alcohol content. So the hops dominate, and it's very, very particular. This is different from the hops that you're going to have in almost any other beer. And I really want to know what hops they're using because it's very, very interesting. Kind of unique, but unique in a way that Paul is not enjoying, it sounds like. So that's
yeah. Whatever the hops are, I'm not. But again, I hate to think that I read a Pilsner and I'm just automatically going to be biased against it. I'm trying to have an open mind. But yeah, they all seem to have an aftertaste. I don't know what it is about it.
Maybe we should put like a blind taste test on it. Like, you shouldn't know what kind of beer it is until you've taken your first sip.
That would actually be interesting, because that would go back to the teach you to be rich test, right? Where they gave the guys the
different wines,
white
whatever.
wine with red food coloring in it, and they claimed it was red wine until they were told otherwise.
I still don't believe. Like, I'll believe like that you can't distinguish between like $100 bottle of wine and a $5 bottle of wine, but I refuse to believe that you can't tell the difference between a red and a white.
Right. Yeah.
I think you could. I think I probably could in most cases, but I don't. I believe that there are people out there who can't. Right?
Well, this
sure.
was purported to be wine experts that didn't figure it out.
Oh, yeah,
And I think
probably not.
so. I do kind of claim Balderdash on that story.
Balderdash.
Balderdash, that's right.
This is the
Which
episode.
I found out is a game that I actually can't play with my family because my kids will not be able to write definitions of words quite yet.
This is the episode where how many vulgar words have been said and you can't bring yourself to say bullshit.
There you go.
Balderdash.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and eat my Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
Dang it, I can't even flub it right.
Do you really want to eat your Reese's Pieces?
I think we have a new Rampant Discourse catchphrase now.
We have a new Rampant Discourse logo.
No.
No.
No? All right.
Well, no. Okay, you're gonna have the goat eating Reese's Pieces, and no one else is gonna understand what it means, except for the people that watch this YouTube video.
All 6 of them.
For now, we're gonna blow up, and it's gonna be amazing.
All right, Travis, you finished?
He just crammed it.
Finally.
Can we do our thumbs now?
I'm not even gonna do the joke that I did when I held my thumb up in the direction.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh,
But
wow. It's a tie.
Wait, is that 2? Oh, really?
I definitely put 2 up. I put 2 up. I love this beer.
This is your Zelda
This-
beer?
This is my Zelda beer.
Wow.
This is the beer I had in the advent calendar previously, and I spent a long time tracking it down to see if I could get more cans of this beer into my life after the last time I had this, and I couldn't. It was very disappointing. This beer is one of the best of the pilsners that I've had. It is very light, which is surprising because I tend to like the heavier beers, but that hop that they're using that Paul dislikes so much, I love. It is just right for what I don't think this is not something you want to have all of the time, but I would happily drink this beer as a main, and I would happily have it as a special occasion beer because it is so good on so many different levels. And I understand it's not for everyone, but this is an amazing beer.
All right, Paul, you need these last 2. One of these last 2.
One of these last 2 whats?
One of these last 2 is going to be your double thumbs up.
Yeah, so we've been talking about whether we want to do like a kind of recap episode where we talk about our favorite beers, and it occurs to me I'm not entirely sure which one of these are my favorite beers. I think I've liked just as many as you, Andrew, and more than you, Travis, but haven't been as many that have been like super double thumbs up, right? It's been like a couple of tepid thumbs ups, a couple of like, okay, yeah, thumbs up, but not really any that I'm like, wow, this is a beer that I need to track down and order more of, right? I haven't had my Zelda beer or apparently this one.
Your Schloßbrauerei.
Yeah, and I guess the last 2 will be it. Yeah, I didn't. I don't think there's anything really to say. Like, to each their own. This has cemented your place as like the contrarian, Andrew, where you like things that nobody else likes, and have opinions that nobody else can understand. So that's fine.
And the Zelda beer cemented mine as it was different from everything else, so of course I like it.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Mainstream here. Whatever we get, like the thing that tastes the most like
Yingling.
Sam Adams Oktoberfest maybe is. I'm trying.
Or
to
no,
think
you like that Calvert Brewing Company Martzen.
Yeah. If there's
that's yours.
Yeah, if there's a Martzen in these last 2 that's really good, then that'll probably be it. I mean, honestly, the Wiener Lager might still be. I'm getting ahead of myself, but for this particular beer, not impressed. It just it wasn't light. It had kind of a weird kind of aftertaste. I don't think I like the taste of the hops, and that's really all I need to say. I think is just it wasn't my cup of beer.
Yeah, and for me, it has that Pilsner's aftertaste. I don't know what it is about all these Pilsners, but yeah, there's just something about an aftertaste that really doesn't jive with me.
All right. Well, so any other last words before we sign off? All right. Well, Travis has his white whale. Andrew found his white whale. Still searching for my white whale. Don't forget to massage those subscribe and like buttons, and hopefully you'll join us for our last 2 episodes. It's getting really close to the end. Can't stop the discourse.